The stage is getting set for our next fireside chat that delves into running companies with purpose. To moderate this session, I would once again like to invite Ms. Rukmini Rao, Consulting Editor, Fortune India, to please join us back on stage. And in operation for nearly 3.5 decades with dairy, food and farmers at the center of its business model, the impact of a company transcends its shareholders. Today, Heritage Foods is charting a sustainable path in India's nutrition story, combining farmer welfare, consumer nutrition and public health goals. To talk more on the future of India's dairy industry, let's welcome Ms. Brahmani Nara, Executive Director, Heritage Foods Limited. Welcome to both of you. Rukmini, the stage is all yours.
Brahmani, lovely to have you with us this evening. I perhaps want to start this conversation with the kind of company that you run where you touch the lives of, say, 3 lakh dairy farmers. The portfolio that you have touches people's tables and plates. And again, that is the social part of it, but also having, running a public company, having shareholders. I want to understand what goes behind the decision making when you're trying to balance, say, shareholder interests and the social aspect of running a business, Brahmani.
Hi, Rukmini. Thank you so much for having me here today. It's been really inspiring listening to the other women who are here, and I think the whole purpose is to get together and cheer for one another, so really grateful for that. As Heritage Foods, we've always been a purpose-driven organization since the beginning, and central to that is the foundation of the farmer. And let me give you a short story behind how the company had started. One of the previous panelists spoke about uncertainties. So Heritage Foods was actually born out of uncertainties of dairy farmers from a district called the Chittoor district in the state of Andhra Pradesh, which is the undisputed leader in terms of milk production. Our founder happens to be from the district. So it started as an initiative to bring these farmers out of distress and saw success in the initial years itself. And the company also got listed very soon in the early 90s. And ever since, we just started with 20,000 liters of milk procurement. And it's been about 35 years of the existence of the company. And today we procure about 18 to 19 lakh liters of milk per day. And that's how much we've grown. Again, because of a very strong network of farmers that we have this trust and relationship with. And this trust was really, built upon 3 promises that we've always given farmers, because we always believed in, improving their livelihoods. Number 1 is always procuring the milk that they supply to us. There was no concept of milk holidays, just no matter how the season would be, etc. Number 2 is accurately measuring the quality and quantity of milk that they supply to us, which is how dairy companies pay farmers at the village level. And we use a lot of technology to make this happen. And number 3 is fundamentally paying them in time, paying them punctually. And that's something that we've never, failed in terms of doing with our farmers. So I think, over the years, beyond these transactional benefits and clarity that we've given farmers, there are several other things we've done as well. For instance, we have a large team of procurement staff as well as veterinarians that go down to the village level and work alongside farmers to improve their livelihoods. Aside from that, we organize third-party loans. We deliver to their doorstep high-quality, high-protein animal feed. We have, very good insurance programs to protect their families and their animals, and several other things, tightly managed through a tech platform called the Vet Plus app, which has more than 100,000 downloads today. So really, the farmer has been central to the theme of Heritage Foods, which has given us, incidentally, also access to high-quality direct procurement of milk. And that's magical when that happens, right? We become more innovative, more experimental as a company. And we've really been able to, create many value-added products through that.
The shareholder return part of it, how do you manage?
So, because of our really unique nature of fundamentally focusing on the farmer, we've been able to create value-added products, which are really the margin driver for dairy business in India. So we've been able to sustainably and profitably grow to revenues of about 4,500 crores with a value-added product contribution of about 32.5% as of the last financial year and growing really fast in that space. So I think along the way, every stakeholder, not just shareholders, right, be it the woman farmer at the village level, be it the woman consumer or the decision maker in urban area, be it our own workforce at our factories, all of them have been positively influenced and, of course, ultimately the shareholders. So it's a vicious cycle.
Given that you actually had the innovation part of it in the company, and since you spoke about value-added products, and you see a lot of incumbent challenges, actually, a lot of new age companies which are coming up in the FMCG space. How do you really look at competition and for companies which have brought out products for a long time? Do you think the familiarity that consumers have with your brand is something that will tug along if competition gets tougher?
Very interesting point, right? Innovation and new age companies. I think we are at a very interesting phase in India. The magic here, though, is there is really a huge opportunity for both existing companies and new companies to grow because, India is the fastest growing nation when it comes to consumerism, when it comes to GDP growth, or, whatever metric that you look at. We're a very young nation with, sensibilities when it comes to food, changing very quickly. However, let me share with you the vision of our company, which we take very seriously. We want to be the most admired dairy nutrition company in India. So what does this mean? On the supply side, we want to double the income of our farmers, and I've spoken about several initiatives that we take up with them, both transactionally and above and beyond, in order to improve their livelihoods. Number two, innovation that you mentioned, very important for us. We want to be number one when it comes to consumer loyalty in our core markets at least. And since the beginning, I think the DNA of the company was such that we were focused on innovation. And let me give you an example, right? We were the first dairy company to sell packaged curd at scale in India. This was during a time that even internally within the company, most stakeholders felt that no one would either buy, curd off a retail or a kirana shelf, or curd is a product that wouldn't survive the supply chain shocks of a fresh product in India. And we continue to be among the top players when it comes to curd. And not just that, I think there's a lot we do. We brought in a lot of fresh blood into the organization to be able to accelerate this process of innovation within the organization. We have a set of capabilities that we've built through dairy technologists, dairy scientists, a lot of people on the operations side who help it happen. We have a very rigorous discipline framework called the Heritage Innovation Framework, through which we screen all of the different innovations that happen in the organization through a very collaborative and cross-functional team. I spoke about doubling farmers' incomes. I spoke about being relevant and innovative and being number one. I think what's also important for us is we have this target of being the most healthy portfolio in terms of dairy products available. And again, we've always been that. We were the first dairy company to fortify all of our milk with vitamin A and D, even before it was mandated in India. And now, we've been very focused on clean labeling. We use natural or nature identical ingredients in our products, and we collaborate a lot with our vendors, ingredient suppliers, to make this happen in India. Most recently, what was exciting was that we launched a whole new range of products under the sub-brand of Nourish Plus, which is basically a high-protein set of products, currently in milk as well as paneer, and there are newer products that we're going to be launching.
What is your, favorite pick from your own portfolio, Brahmani?
I'm a big dahi person. No matter where I travel, I need to have my dahi. Yogurt's not good enough. So that's one. But really, I think, Rukmini, I think innovation goes above and beyond this agenda you have, right? You need to have the right set of people engaged in the direction that you want to drive the organization of being the most nutritious company. And I'm happy to say that we have an engaged team. We are among the top 50 FMCG companies according to the Great Place to Work, sort of rankings. And we go above and beyond. It's not just product. It's not just about clean labeling. It's also about processes, packing material for more resource optimization and a greener future. So I think there's a lot of things that we do to innovate within the organization and to drive it rigorously.
I mean, looking at the dairy-heavy portfolio that you have, and given that India today is looking at FTAs with several countries that have a lot of the value added, the cheese, perhaps somewhere from the Europe or let's say a New Zealand coming into India. How do you, as a Indian company, prepare yourself for impending competition? It can't be you can't wish away competition. It is going to come in whether you want or not. So how do you prepare the company for what is to come, especially if if the premium story in India's consumer market is going well? The rich, the affordable segment of Indians may well be looking at what foreign brands might be offering in the Indian market.
India has come a really long way when it comes to milk production itself. Today, I'm proud to say we are the largest producer of milk in the world with 250 million metric tons of milk being produced per year. And that didn't come easily. There was a lot of effort that had gone in making this possible, right? Having said that, I think India does have a problem. I think the growth and demand that you're seeing for milk products is so much higher than the growth in supply that we're seeing in India. And that gap is what all stakeholders need to take very seriously. So we do our bit when it comes to that as an organization. Like I mentioned earlier, we facilitate third-party loans to our farmers very easily through a tripartite agreement with banks or NBFCs. We supply subsidized high-quality, animal feed and fodder to our farmers, and we also subsidize artificial insemination programs for the cattle of the farmers. That not just our farmers, but other farmers in villages as well, right? The 6,000 odd villages that we go out to on a daily basis. Now, what does this do? It obviously improves the health of the animal. Feed is directly correlated with the health, and it also improves the productivity of the animal. The Indian livestock or animal is probably at like 20 or 25% of developed economies animals' productivity at about 5 to 6 liters per day. It's really low, so there is a huge opportunity there, and we make it happen. Artificial insemination, very important. The program that we carry out has higher success rates than the average that India sees, and very important to create a whole new generation or a whole new breed of animals which are better in terms of health, which will have a positive permanent future impact. And of course, lending is very important to farmers because they are generally non-bankable, these women. And it'll help them to invest into improving their herd size and investing into infrastructure. Now, it's not just the private sector. The government is also taking it very seriously because most of these farmers are small and marginalized in nature. And the recent budget has several initiatives supporting women farmers and supply chain and infrastructure in India. You had a question on innovation and products.
I think you spoke about it. But if I have to sort of look at the structure, India has a lot of, parent and children-run companies where the baton is passed on from parents to children. But interestingly, you work with your mother-in-law, and it's been since 2011, if I'm not wrong. What has been the experience like and learnings from her? And also, another question, given that you're also associated with the movie industry, having a superstar for a father, do you watch movies at all?
So it's I think it's been a wonderful experience at Heritage Foods. Personally, I've always been passionate about well-being, health, nutrition, and I could not think of a better space or a better means than milk, which is the most approachable, affordable product. But more than that, to answer your question, I think as a family, we've been quite disciplined. We said any new generation family member that wants to join the business should have a good degree and a good external experience, and that's what I came in with. So I worked in venture capital after engineering. I went to Stanford for my MBA program, came back and joined the family business. During that time, it was a complex situation. We had a fast-growing, profitable dairy business, and we had a fast-growing but loss-making food and grocery retail business as well. And my mother-in-law played such an important role in guiding me. Number one, she made me realize the importance of empathy. I was that typical sort of business school graduate kind of person, using a lot of logos, Excel sheets, market research. But she taught that decision making is a lot more than that. Leadership is a lot more than that. She taught me to be very humble, rooted, and she made me realize the importance of going to the field and spending time with the stakeholder in the farm, in the factory, in the market, the distributor, etc. So I think there's a lot that I took away from her. Most importantly, she eased my entrance into the company and into the industry, which continues to be male-dominated. So I think she sort of set a very positive precedence and made me feel very welcomed in the organization. And she keeps reminding me about the importance of the farmer behind every single decision that we make. I watched a lot of movies growing up, especially Telugu and Hindi movies. And if I were to say that, take a little bit of pride and say that my Telugu is reasonably good, it's because of the movies that I watched. And I learned a lot about mythology having watched my grandfather's
So we'll discount
movies.
your father, but who would be your favorite actor then?
Sorry?
If we discount your father, who would be your favorite actor then?
It would be my grandfather.
The legendary.
He's the greatest actor ever,
Absolutely.
I really admire
absolutely.
him.
Absolutely. Thank you for this wonderful conversation, Brahmani. Hope you all had a good time and a great evening.
Thank you so much for having me, Rukmini. It's my pleasure.